to another week of the Newman Show. I, of course, am Newman. My guests tonight are Kwok and Michael Patisso. They both work in the real estate field. What they do and what they're going to talk about, we'll get to in a little bit. Just to sum up last week, we talked about some of the craziness in the news, and it hasn't gotten any less crazy, so another week or so we'll get back into that. Next week, I should have V on, and maybe I'll see if I can get someone else. If you want to come back, we'll talk about Comic-Con.
Sure.
I know your version of Comic-Con was very different of ours. That was just this past weekend. We went on Thursday. What else went on? I did my advanced motorcycle training course yesterday. I'm still sore. It was a lot of mileage in the parking lot. But very cool to do. If you ride, I definitely suggest taking it, because I found out after years of riding, I was doing a lot of things wrong, so it's always good to check that out. What else? I want to thank Pat Gagliardi for putting me on his show at the South Shore Theater. That was a lot of fun. That was my last comedy show, kind of, for a while, doing a break, but I do have a couple coming up in November. One at the Irish Pub, which I'll talk about later, in a future episode. And another one at the Cat Cafe in Huntington, which is a benefit, which I'll talk about on a future episode. We're also going to have Paul Bond calling in later, talking about his show this Sunday, which is also for charity. It's going to be at McGuire's, Governor's at McGuire's, and he's hosting, and Rich Guzzi, the comedian hypnotist, is going to be headlining. That's going to be a lot of fun, but we will talk about that later as well. So now that we warmed up a little bit, we'll just get into the sponsors and get started on the show. So we're going to start with Frank Zambuto and Kayla Logistics. Kayla Logistics, where your business is our priority. Our goal is to provide our customers with end-to-end logistics solutions worldwide. Contact Frank Zambuto regarding all of your international import and export needs. Frank also has domestic contracts with many of the largest coast-to-coast trucking companies in the USA for non-personal cargo. For all Newman Show listeners, just mention the Newman Show, and Frank will take 10% off your first domestic trucking shipment in the USA. Frank Zambuto and Kayla Logistics, where your business is our priority, and you can reach Frank direct at 347-536-3933, or email at frank@klogistics.com, and definitely give him a call. He's up on everything. I know there's a lot of confusion, specifically with China and the tariffs, and I can tell you he basically is on the phone with China pretty much every day with his contacts over there, so he definitely knows what he's talking about. So give him a call. Also, we have Jason Martin with Felon for Life Motorcycle Repair. Jay is a great guy. He actually helped me out with strapping down my bike on the trailer, going and let the straps, which I will bring back to you. I'll reach out to you tomorrow and see what you're doing. But anyway, he's a mechanic. He also does like aftermarket accessories. He specializes in Harleys, but he will work on any bike. And he does some cool stuff. Like if you have your own motorcycle and you want to learn how to work on it, he'll tell you how to do it. You can go by his place, or if you get your own tools, you want to just call him up. He'll help you out. His big focus is to get vets back on the bike, especially ones that can't afford to, because a lot of the vets, especially combat vets, when they come home, it's very hard for them to assimilate back to civilian life. And riding a motorcycle is really therapeutic and a great escape for them. And he does what he can to get them back on for little to no cost. He's currently taking donations for a bike he's working on now. So definitely look him up on Facebook, and you can give him a call. Stop by his house. You can drop off parts, you can drop off money, whatever, and definitely help him get these guys back on the road. I also want to talk about Sean from the Irish Pub. It is football season, so you definitely want to get down there, because during all football games, there's 60-cent wings and $2.50 Bud Light pints for all the live games. This week specifically is his birthday week, and they're celebrating on Friday during karaoke. And his karaoke is a lot of fun. They start at 10, and I believe he's still doing the $30 open bar from 10 to 12, which definitely will help get your singing voice ready, or at least make it more tolerable when you're up there. Also, this Sunday, we're working on another cornhole tournament at 1 p.m., so reach out to him on Facebook. It's going to start at 1. It's $20 a person, and there will be prizes. What they are and when, I'm not 100% sure. But definitely come on down and join into the fun. The Dart League also, he's looking to expand his Dart League on Monday and Tuesday for next season. So definitely reach out to the Irish Pub on their Facebook page and see what you can do. And it's just a lot of fun there. I will be there tomorrow night, their dart team is home. So I will be shooting darts there, hopefully winning once this season because I've not won a game yet. Definitely embarrassing myself. But yeah, Sean's a good guy. It's also, I believe he's also doing specials for the baseball games, but check out his Facebook page. They're located on Merrick Avenue in Baldwin. You're close to Grand Avenue. So if you go south on Grand Avenue or down, because most people don't know what south is.
Curve is, right?
You make a left, yeah.
Yeah, right there.
Make a left, they'll be on the right-hand side in the chain of stores. So definitely check out the Irish Pub. Sean will be a guest soon. I don't know when, but we're working on that. So, let me just log into the show on my phone here, just in case we lose this feed. So, we're going to start it with our show. We're going to focus on real estate mainly tonight. Like I said, Paul Bond will be calling in later. But let's start with you. Why don't you tell us who you are and what you do in the real estate field?
Mike Patisso. Pretty much I've been in the financing part of it for about 12 years, 12, 13 years now. Pretty much what we do is we help real estate investors, experienced ones and inexperienced ones, get into the investment industry. Where flipping properties, where they're buying and selling them, where they're going to buy them and hold them as for a rental of some sort. So we're a little bit different than your average, say your bank, where it's very strict rules. They expect a certain level of experience from you. They like a regular bank you would go to and pretty much like you could get the property and purchase it, but what happens to the renovations part? Right. So now it's like, well, where am I coming up with that money? And that's the biggest thing. So what we really do is we help someone get financing and educate them on how you could get the property, how you could get the renovations done for it, and take care of everything with as little as possible out of pocket. Even if you have the funds available, pretty much, instead of putting all your eggs in one basket, so to speak, you finance all the money, you flip the property, you get your profit, and it's almost like a wash.
Okay, so I'm in real estate as well, and I started a few years ago, and I remember in the real estate course, they said if you are going to invest, the less it comes out of your pocket, the better, because instead of just getting one property to work on, you can get several.
Yeah, absolutely.
And depending on how big you are, several could be 2, it could be 30.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens a lot too, because everyone's afraid, like, oh, I don't spend all my money on an investment. So everyone holds back. They don't want to get into the investment game. But then what if you do spend all your money, and then another property comes?
Now you don't pass that.
Now you got to pass on it. So it allows you the opportunity, and it's an opportunity to dabble a little and see if it's something that you like or not. And it's an investment, so it's always going to be risky, but at least allows you the opportunity that you're not going to go bankrupt. At the end of the day, you pay back the loan as if any other loan, but at least you don't have to worry about going broke.
So now, if let's say I were to do this, I found a property, I want to take a loan from you, do I have to start paying back immediately, like the next month, or is there like a few months grace to get the property going and on the market?
That's a good question. So technically, yes, within 60 days, I apologize. In 60 days, you'd be making your first payment. The payments, though, are interest only, so they're very little, the payments, and that will be that way for, depends on what kind of program you get put into. Typically, on a fix and flip, you'd be looking at a 12-month interest-free. So allow you 12 months to just make your interest only payments. So for that 12-month period, the payments are very little. It's about 1% of the loan amount.
Okay.
So just take that into consideration of how much you're invested, how much the loan is for. Remember, also the loan is not just the purchase, it's also for the renovations.
Right.
So maybe you bought a property for $100,000 and you need $100,000 to put into the property. So we'll give you the $200,000. And then you could just go from there and focus mostly on renovating the property and flipping it as quick as possible. Obviously, you don't want to hang on to it. You want to get in there, do what you got to do, and get out.
You keep it, obviously, the more
it's going to cost you money.
Anyway.
Yeah, of course.
And Wynn knows about that too.
Sorry. Well, one question I had was, are there any states that you do not lend in?
So yes. So for us, we don't typically lend in. Just going to try to Alaska,
Okay.
Hawaii. Utah, and North Dakota. Those are the only states that we don't.
Fair enough.
The problem is it's too rural. Like when you go to like North Dakota, So it's hard to
Flip something in
to
North
flip
Dakota.
some, yes. It's very hard to.
Understood.
The properties are very low in price anyway, so if you're buying a property for 20 grand, what do you put into it? 5 grand? I mean, you can't put 100 grand into a $30,000 property.
What's your profit then?
Yeah, so
$500,000?
and when you go into a rural area, it's so hard to appraise it because I mean, obviously you guys
The
know
comps,
that
sure.
the comps. What are you comping it by when your neighbor's
Mount
15
Rushmore.
miles away?
Mount Rushmore is out there. That's about it.
Rich, I'll get to your question in a second. I just want to introduce you. You're Win Kwok.
Yes.
You're my partner at Douglas Elliman,
Correct.
where we're agents, realtors, and also you're an investor
Yes.
on the side. So
So the investment end, I've been investing for 15 years now, and on Long Island, however, in Metro New York, I am a realtor, similar to yourself. I found that was the easiest, and it was just less risky for as an investor to be in Long Island without being that physical contractor, to be an agent as opposed to the flipper.
because especially for the people out of state watching, most people I think know New York, especially Long Island and Manhattan, very, very expensive.
Yes.
But high risk, high reward. You get a property here and you sell it, you're going to make a lot,
Yeah.
but you need that capital to lay out. Or even 1% interest.
On a
Oh, it's gonna-
$500,000 home.
$500,000 home with a couple $100,000 to repair that you're going to try to
Right.
sell for $900,000, $1 million, which is not unusual around
Yeah.
here. I'm
No,
sure you can
absolutely,
say.
absolutely.
You know, that first couple payments are going to kill you if you don't have that cash on hand.
You also got to remember too. I think the problem out here, and you guys might know better than me when it comes to this, is out here is even if you buy a property that needs a lot of work, you're still going to spend a lot of money on it, which is
Right.
the problem. You know, you could buy something that's really just a junk, and you might buy it for 400 or 500 grand. So
Right.
what do you do at this point?
Right.
Do you drop 100 grand into it, and are you going to get your money back?
And like you said, you're in competition with the contractors
Yeah, who
have
does
the
the work.
capital and do the work, so they're
themselves.
already
Yep.
like 2 steps ahead of you.
Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. I'm a customer of the contractor, so they're marking it up 20%, 25% just to get their profit. So I lose out on that profit here
Right.
if
Yeah.
I'm not swinging the hammer myself.
Yeah.
Now, Rich has a question. He wants to know what the average interest rate is, and I guess that would vary on state.
It varies.
or is
So
it-
Experience.
it's
Correct?
well, yeah, experience definitely does play a part in that. The property value itself. So what we do is we're more of an asset-based lender than a credit lender. So by that, what we mean is we're not 100% concerned about your credit. We're more concerned about the property, your
Value.
experience, the LTV, the value of it, the ARV. The ARV is
Right.
big. So that's something that on a regular market, if you went to ABC Bank or ABC Credit Union, they're going to want to know what's the value of the property as is. Where we're looking at what's the property
Willing.
of the when you fix it up.
Rehabilitated
Yeah, when you
property,
yeah,
right.
the ARV, the after retail value on that. So with that said, that all plays into a factor of what the interest rate would be. But typically, because these are high risk loans, they usually start around like 5%. And typically work their way up to maybe like 10, 11.
No, honestly,
Pretty
5% is
good. That's
pretty low.
pretty good.
Yeah,
5%
it's
is
not-
on line with a mortgage.
Correct.
You know,
Mortgages are
yeah.
3 something though.
But I'm saying
Yeah,
it's
3.
not that far away from it. It's not like these 20-25% interest
Oh
rate
no
loans.
no no! You get
You're
a
very
25.
close.
You better sell that house.
Right.
You better sell that house.
But I'm saying,
Refinance.
what I'm trying to say, it's not like it's predatory lending. It's really, because again, for an investment, paying 1 to 2% more than an actual mortgage home that you're gonna live in is not bad.
No,
It
no,
really
no.
isn't.
It's definitely not bad. And you're talking about credit cards. It's how many people use their credit cards all the time and are paying this 25% interest. So here's an investment opportunity. This is not
And your
buying.
credit cards don't get you any money.
Yeah.
Well, some of them have cash back, but you're not making any
The
money
2%
on it.
cash back. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
the 2% cash back on your 25% card.
Yeah.
But that's where it definitely plays a good part. Is it's not too crazy. You're not going into something that's going to really put you in hot water. In other words.
Just gonna move this closer because even the largest screen I have a problem seeing.
Oh.
But Jeff's asking the question: how long should it take to refinance your house while taking an additional amount to the overall loan? I don't think that's so much what you're
That's
doing.
a retail
That's
refinance.
but do you have an
rather.
answer to that?
That's definitely not something. So we do more of non-owner occupied,
Right.
where it's all investment properties. Before regular property, what is he?
I think he's asking about refinancing your house because again, what he does is work with investors. So if you find that property that's just been sitting vacant for years, or someone's moving, they're
Short
looking for a
sale or
cash
something
deal,
like that, yeah.
foreclosure, buying it, fixing it, and flipping it, or
Unless
renting
he's
it out.
asking is if not that it would pertain to me, but if he's trying to refinance, take the cash out, and invest in a property, I wonder if that's what he's talking about, because that's definitely an opportunity you could do and save yourself the interest, because if you have the equity in your own property,
Right.
by all means, you should go that route.
Right.
But just remember, you're going to be investing your home into this new investment
Right.
property. But it's not a bad idea at all. You could get yourself a lower rate. That's definitely a good thing. And like I said, hey, if you have the equity in your house, go for it. I mean,
So if you're
definitely.
asking to remortgage your own house or refinance your own house, reach out to me later, because I do have people for that too that can definitely help you out. And I've had great experiences with them.
that should typically, if he's looking for a time frame, that, I'd say, what, about 3-4 weeks usually?
The
on
quickest
average,
I've heard is 3 or 4 weeks. That's after they've verified your income, they've verified your paychecks, they've verified your credit.
They
is
call
on
your job,
par,
too.
They call your job. So if everything is already in with the bank, 3 to 4 weeks quickest.
It's quickest.
And they have these products now that they can do all of it before you even.
Now, is that through a bank? You're talking about like
Bank.
a mortgage? Because
Bank.
if you call Contour or Abe, you know. he
No,
probably-
that's still the quickest you can do
Okay.
is 3 to 4
Yeah.
weeks. But a large bank, actually, they're getting
Yeah.
smarter. They're getting a little bit more competitive with these brokers and smaller, like Contour Mortgage. They know they're losing a lot of business
Right.
because they're so difficult to work with. So they've tried to speed up their process. So I know a couple of big banks who have new products that can be 3 to 4 weeks, provided all the information is given to them on a timely basis. So if they ask for it, less than a day. All the information they need, a reaction turnaround time for less than a day, because otherwise you're holding it up. But otherwise the underwriting.
I was going to bring that point
yeah.
up too, because a lot of it's delayed
Yes.
because of the person. Like, yeah,
Yes.
get me these forms. Okay, and then a
Yeah.
week later they send it to you.
And then
hey,
what's
where's
going
my
on?
stuff? You know,
That's
Exactly.
We
took a
always
week to get
tell
it to me.
everyone. Obviously, I work with a lot of brokers, where they broker the deals to us, and
Wow,
I
it's
always,
like 3 months already.
I always say, wow, that is a very long time.
I
Call-
would
call me
consider
later.
changing banks. Yes,
Yeah.
I would consider changing.
I would say 95% of the time, it's the applicant that's slowing down the process.
Right.
Where it's like,
Taking
listen,
a week to get paychecks done.
yeah, they have that, how quick can I close? Well, as quick as you want to close,
Right.
pretty
Right.
much. Get me this. And it's like, oh, well, I'm going on vacation. Well, I got this. Listen, I can't do anything until you get me that paperwork. So in that aspect, yes, I would say 95% of the time, it is the applicant. The other thing, too, is title. Title takes time.
Right.
As long as the government works.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
As long as the government's working, but they have to. They're ensuring that there's nothing wrong with your property.
Right, and they
So-
take that liability.
Yes,
if there
they're
is a
taking the
problem.
liability. If I come knocking
They'll have
on
to
your
buy that.
door and say, "Hey, this is my house,"
Yeah.
that's on them. They're going to have to give you the money to
Right.
compensate you for that. So the title,
That'll be at least 2 weeks. I'd
usually
say
2 weeks.
alone.
Yeah, I would
Yeah,
So that's the longest
'cause I
out
know,
of 3 or 4
like,
weeks.
If you're looking just to buy a regular house, typically a month minimum from purchase to closing, contract to
Minimum.
closing,
Minimum.
and that's people really working their ass off and getting everything in gear.
Yeah.
If it's cash deal, it can be done in 2 weeks.
Yes.
And that's, again, you're just waiting for the title at that point, because
Yeah.
you don't need an appraisal. There's a lot of stuff you don't need,
Right.
because you're coming in there with, you just basically have
I
to
think
prove
if
you
you're
have
in
the
cash deal too, you could probably skip the title, right? Or I wouldn't recommend it.
Right.
Yeah, you
It's
still
not
kinda need the,
recommended. You can skip it, but you take on that liability.
You
at
do,
that
you
point.
do. Because I know
And
that,
that
you can skip like the home inspection and stuff like. I don't recommend it. I think you should.
Well, it
always do
depends,
your due
because if
diligence.
someone's coming in with a cash deal and they're looking, especially if they're looking to knock down and rebuild, they don't care about the inspection, because it doesn't matter, because that's not going to
Right.
be there.
Yeah.
But
It's
title
down.
could still be an issue.
Title could be an
Yeah.
issue, which is why most people wait for the title, and that's why I know, like, from the agreement to the close is usually minimum 2 weeks,
Yeah.
because of the title.
The title, yeah. And you don't want to order the title
And that's
until you.
this, again. We're speaking here in New York. Out of state,
Yes.
could be a very, very different story.
Yeah.
I'm sure things happen much quicker in other places.
I would still say some places out
Some
of state
places
are
might be
still
longer.
1 to 2 weeks. So
Yeah.
you're still at
But I'm
minimum
saying
a
even like a
week.
standard house purchase.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
still
that's
a
pretty
week
standard.
at least 1 to 2 weeks. It's pretty standard everywhere. 2
Well,
weeks is on the long side. On
That's with the
government.
mortgage.
With the mortgage.
Yeah, so that's still
Yeah.
quicker, because typically here they tell you to wait, expect 60 to 90 days.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They
In
always-
most places.
Right.
And to go back to your point before, traditionally, and like you said, things have changed with banks, they don't care so much about you taking a mortgage loan from them, so they're not in a rush with it, because they're doing auto loans, they're doing passbook loans. They're doing regular.
And they're going to sell it.
They're doing
in
everything
a month anyway.
Yeah, and they don't usually hold on to it, so they don't care. A mortgage company is making 100% of their money from the mortgages. So with no lending of money to anybody, they make zero money.
Yeah.
Unlike a bank who's even making money off your money that you keep in there.
Right.
Yeah.
You deposit that money, they don't just leave it. It's not sitting there waiting for
They're
you when you
leveraging
come.
it,
They're
absolutely.
investing that out. They're doing whatever. So, they don't need you. But then again, especially in New York, when you're dealing with $500,000 and up homes, that's a lot of money they're losing out on. So they are starting to come to the table and saying, okay, look, the credit unions and the mortgage companies are killing us.
Yep.
Let's get on board.
Exactly.
Excuse me. Well, Harry, you're right. I was going to talk about the inspection, and that again, it depends on what you're doing. If you know you're knocking that house down, you don't really care.
Correct.
If you're going to do a renovation, you definitely need that inspection because you got to figure out.
I would always go for
you got to figure out what that contractor work is going to cost. What does
you
it
got to
need?
figure too. What are you really saving? A couple $100? Is it really worth if you run into a problem?
Yeah, 500,
What is it?
600?
500?
Yeah.
500,
Anywhere
600
from
bucks?
I've heard 100 to 1,000, depending on who they are and
Yeah.
what they do.
And
but
what the type of
typical
property is actually commercial.
Harry, do you have an idea you want to throw out there what a good inspection would cost? And again, it varies by company and how much they're putting into it. Like what
Whether
we
it's
went.
commercial and residential will also
Yeah.
make a
Oh,
difference.
Yeah, well, commercial and residential are always a different
Yes.
animal, even with closing and
Yeah, that's
commercial properties can take a lot
way,
longer.
way
year,
different.
yeah.
And the appraisal's a big deal too,
Yeah.
if you need it. Like your appraisal is a little different because again, you're doing
so-
after it's fixed up. Whereas
Well,
a
they'll
bank-
come in right away. So what they're going to do is, it depends on what you're doing with the property. So if you fix and flipping the property, the appraiser needs to do the ARV, like we discussed it, because he needs to know exactly what you're going to do to the property,
Right.
and then he's got to factor in, based on what you're looking to do to the property, what would the value be? Some investors, now, like I said, we do work with inexperienced as well. Inexperienced investors always think, well, if I put 100 grand, it's going to raise the price 100 grand, and it's not true. What I like to say, and I think I made it up, but maybe I did it. Just because you put $1 million into a home doesn't make it $1 million home.
Right.
So you got to know what you're doing. And example in point, I closed on a loan. Guy wanted to put $150,000 into the renovation budget into it, and it turns out the $150,000 budget was dropped down to $67,000, and the house was worth the same. So you don't need to spend all this
I
money
did wanna
and do
talk
all
about
these
that
fancy things.
too, because a lot of people make that mistake, especially with their own home. They watch these shows like Flip This House or whatever, like,
HGTV.
I'm going to redo my kitchen, my bathroom, and my master bedroom, and I'm going to spend $150,000, and my house is going to be worth $300,000 more because I saw it on TV. And that's just not reality. That's
Yeah.
why, I
unfortunate.
don't get why people don't go to experts with the biggest purchase they'll ever make probably in their life.
Yeah.
And I see people all the time, I can sell my own house. Yeah, you can. I could buy my own house. Yeah, you can. But you're not going to get the best deal either way.
You're not even going to get the same exposure.
And again,
with
I'm going to push
people.
our
yeah.
company a little bit. Douglas Elliman has
Yes.
been known to get on average 10% more than other companies because of name recognition,
Oh,
the
definitely.
effort that's put into it, the
The amount
marketing,
of people looking at
just the people in the
homes.
network that are looking at it. So, yeah, you could sell your house on your own and maybe get $500,000 for it. But if you sold it to a company, maybe you get $600,000 for
Well,
it.
statistically speaking, even if you sell on your own versus any company, not
Right.
just
Oh,
Douglas
yeah.
Elliman, you get 5% more.
Right.
With going with a realtor.
So it really
real
pays
estate company.
itself.
Absolutely.
Anything you think is-
And then on top of that, Douglas Elliman actually gets 10% on average above the market.
Okay.
So
Right.
that's possibly an extra 15%.
Well, it's a big name. It's a,
yes, it's named
versus going to
It's
Joe's
around here,
Realtor or
it's the
something.
biggest on Long Island right now.
correct, exactly.
One of
by
the biggest in
far.
the country, I think, right?
At
They're
least on
actually
the East
international.
Coast. Yeah, they
but
are.
yeah.
are, right?
international,
They are.
Yeah, they're not everywhere in the
See,
United States, but we partner with other.
Oh, okay.
Even home buyers, you could go and you could put an offer in, hey, this is the most I'll spend for it. But again, you got to realize the agent you're talking to, especially if you don't sign a buyer-broker agreement, which is our meeting Thursday, by the way. If you don't sign a buyer-broker agreement, even if you're working with an agent, they're working for the seller of that home. And a lot of people don't understand that. And it really doesn't make sense. You figure, well, I call the agent, I got them working for me. Well, if you didn't sign the contract, you don't. They're working for the seller of that
Seller.
home.
Well, that's actually a good thing that you brought that up. Now, do you guys experience that? Do a lot of people not like to sign those or something? Or
I
has it worked?
personally haven't had a problem with it because I explained to them, look, I want to work for you and get you the best deal. If you don't want to do that, I'll take you out a little bit. But then again, if you're not guaranteeing me that you're going to buy from me or that I could work for you,
Yeah.
I know I can't do the best deal for you. And honestly, I'd rather not work with you.
Gotcha.
And I'm very clear about that. And you know, because
Yep.
we've worked on 2 deals together before you were an agent,
Yep.
you know, on the buying and the selling side. And I'm honest.
Yeah.
And yes, I know there are bad agents out there, just like there are bad people in every field.
Yep.
And if you had a bad experience or someone who just didn't put their effort into it, I can understand where you're coming from, but still a professional,
You got the
especially if you
wrong
go for a
person,
realtor.
ultimately.
A realtor, again, is held to a different, you know, a real estate agent is held to these standards, a realtor is held to these standards. Does it mean they're always going to do the right thing? No, they're not. But if I'm not working for you and I'm working for them, if you want to see a house, I'll kind of, yeah, okay, you know, let's go look at it, and
Yeah.
you know, you want to put an offer in, whatever, I don't care so much. You want me to work for you, now I'm going to fight as hard as I can to get you the best deal,
Yeah.
and to guarantee that, I like to see both sides happy at the end. Because
No,
everybody, and we did that twice personally,
Absolutely.
and I've done that on every deal I did, where even if someone was a little reluctant in the beginning, whether it was my end or their end, by the time we were sitting at the closing table, everybody was happy.
Oh, that's
Is that always going to happen? Of course not. That's
Yeah, yeah.
impossible to have a 100% record, but so far, so good.
Just so you know, like if sometimes people are a little resistant to sign, because I hear that a lot. Is I don't want to sign anything. I don't
Everyone
wanna sign
feels,
anything.
yeah, if they
Right?
sign
Like,
something, they have to
they just
do
gave
something.
you their house or something.
And if you sign with me, if you're looking for a house and you want to buy a house and you sign with me and you decide you don't want to buy a house, you're done. I'm not going to force you to buy a house. I
Yeah,
can't.
yeah.
I can't make you spend $500,000 to buy something that you don't want.
Yeah.
All I'm doing is I'm protecting my time and my investment, that if you go out with me, you're not going to go behind my back and go with someone else. And that I'm working to get you the best deal. That's all I want from the buyer's end.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't think that's really too much to ask, because again, most times the seller is paying out the commission, so you're not even paying me.
Yeah.
You're right.
That's
You
how-
know,
most of the times, right? That's how it
Most
works,
of the
where
time, there are some
seller-
companies who don't pay buyer brokers, but I'm upfront with that. I'm like, look, if I'll still bring it to the house,
Right.
but
The offer will include it. If you don't include it in the offer,
I'll tell them
then-
Gotcha.
take
Yeah.
this percentage off
and then
on your
pay it,
offer with that, and then I'll tell them, look, well, if like let's say they didn't accept it and they won't budge off the asking price. Well, if you do the asking price, this is my cut. Do you still want to do it, or we could look at these other houses? I give them the
Gotcha.
option.
Right.
But let's be honest, if someone's not offering to pay the buyer's agent, do you think they're really going to show those houses that often? Do you think maybe they'll skip through, accidentally lose them? I'm sure it happens. I mean, the more appealing you make that home, which is
Right.
a big part of Douglas Elliman, because I'm not going to talk percentages out of school. When we have someone as a representative specifically of Douglas Elliman, they talk about it, but they require that we give out a certain percentage on our listings. Give out a certain percentage.
Really?
Because it makes it more appealing to the market, which is why they get 10% more than the average.
Yeah.
You know, it's all about taking professional pictures before
Yeah,
the
yeah.
listing. There's a lot that goes
Well, they
into
go through
it.
a lot of training, you guys, right?
Yes.
Yes, a tremendous
Which
amount.
is the advantage of going
To
to
a bigger-
a big company versus, ABC Realtor, who you probably just go in there and say, hey, I just got my real estate license. Can I be your agent? They probably sign your paperwork, say, okay, go sit over there, like take care.
Just to backtrack, Harry wrote, it depends on square footage, going back to the inspection, and but most are around 500 to 700. And Rich, I'll talk to you after, because I saw you sent me a message too. We'll talk, and I'll see if I can help you out, because he has questions about something specific in Long Beach. Unless you want to put it out online, and I can try to answer for you now. If not, I will get back to you later. And of course, this
Is it about buying real estate in Long Beach? Because if it is,
might be.
just worry about that flood insurance bill
Yeah.
that you're going to get every year.
So now on investments, you require flood insurance as well for.
If it's required, if it's in a flood zone, yes.
Yeah.
But if it, anything, obviously in an X zone or anything else, then no, we wouldn't. That's all pretty much the same when it comes to places. The appraisal is the same. We do recommend you get the home inspection, but we don't require it. So I guess that might be a little different than a main bank. The biggest thing too, even though the rate might be a little higher, what we like to do personally versus a lot of other companies out there that are in this type of financing for the real estate investment properties is we try to not charge all those closing costs, which is a big savings.
and they could definitely add up.
They
A lot
could
of
add
people
up a
overlook the
lot,
closing
a
costs.
lot. Yeah, you could get hit with some heavy fees, and then, you come to the table with 10% as a down payment, and it's like, well, make it 20% because you got closing costs that are going to cover that.
Right.
So it's almost like you're telling people not to invest because now you got all these closing costs. So typical closing costs that you will see from a lender, whether it be your Main Street Bank, your credit union, or your hard money lenders, your private lenders, they'll charge like an application fee, which is pretty much saying, give me money before you even get started, which is kind of like, why do I have to do that?
That's a little shifty.
Yeah, but a lot of them do that. Processing fee. So the person who has a paycheck has to get paid to do their
process.
job.
Yeah, exactly.
Underwriting fee, same thing. It's like, what is this fee for? Credit report fee. This one I absolutely love because I worked in the financing industry for so long. It cost, let's see, the last place I was with before I went on my own was, I think it cost $2.50 or $2.75 to run a tri-merge credit report on you. But they're going to charge you $90. I don't know, to make up for the, I don't know where that fee came from, but they'll come out with this crazy number. So you
And by then, your head's so spun around with numbers, you don't even know anymore.
Yeah.
And again, that's why people, I think, are reluctant to sign because they don't know what they're
Yeah,
getting into.
you got all these fees and stuff.
Well,
And
it's not disclosed until the very end.
that's the problem too. They give you, they give you the good faith
Estimated,
estimate,
yes.
and like, well, it's just
Where'd
an estimate.
all this come from?
And then it's like at the end, the day before closing, come to the table with all this money. It's like, wait, what happened? What just happened? It's like, oh, well, these are our fees. So we don't charge any of those fees. We don't charge no processing, underwriting, credit report, whatever you want to call it fee. We have just the origination, and then we have our attorney fee because the attorney has to get paid.
Yeah.
They
always
You
get to make their
also
money.
allow the choosing of a title company? Whoever.
You could have any title company you want. For the most part, when it comes to the appraisal, we do background checks on them.
Okay.
So we have an approved list of appraisers,
Okay.
which makes sense because if an investor comes to me with their friend who's an appraiser,
Right, of
of
course.
course he's going to give you the value you want.
That's true.
But if you're really, like, I really want to use this appraiser, we'll do it, but we're going to have to run a background check.
So it takes longer.
Yeah, it takes like 2 to 3 weeks
Okay.
just to do that. So we highly recommend.
Taking one from the list.
Yeah, one from the list. You pay them directly. You don't pay us.
Okay.
And then you get a value that's
Now,
a true value.
who is underwriting your loans?
Now we do everything in house, and
Okay.
then everything as for the financing comes from. It's kind of like crowdfunding, so to speak, where the funding is coming from hedge fund investors.
Okay.
So what they'll do is we'll present the whole deal to them and say, listen, we approve this deal. This is everything about it. This is the profit on it. This is the risk on it. Would you fund this? And then they'll give us a
And that's
decision
a
and
quick-
be like, yeah.
Yeah?
Oh yeah, our process actually from application to funding, where you could sit at the table, ready for this, is 10 days.
Wow.
On average. Now that means we have a full application.
Right.
And
So
we have
they've done
the paperwork we
business with you
needed.
before?
No, they don't have to. But what we'll do is
You're
I'll
allotting
give
a
you
day?
a list of this is what we need
Yeah.
from you. You get us this stuff. You submit it.
From there,
we
it's
could
10
close
days.
10 days from here.
Okay.
So that's the biggest part because when you're talking about a short sale or like a pre-foreclosure where they're like, I'm getting kicked out of the house on this day.
Yeah.
And what a lot of investors that we deal with are doing is you're going to get kicked out of the house. We'll buy the house from you,
Okay.
which allows you to walk away without that. You'll still have like that pre-foreclosure on your credit.
Yeah, but not
it's not
on
a full.
foreclosure.
Yeah. So
Couple of
typically.
late payments, but that's it.
Yeah, so you could bounce back from that.
Yeah.
Where foreclosures.
10 years or
Yeah, you're
7,
looking
I
at
think.
10. No, I think it moved it to 10 years now.
Yeah? Okay.
So
I
10
wasn't
years
I
of
know
not
it
getting
has
a
bounced back
property.
and forth.
Because I
a little
thought
bit.
10 years was bankruptcy, or is that 7 years?
Bankruptcy is definitely 10 years. That went
Okay.
up from 7 to
Foreclosure
10.
might have moved down.
It did?
That's why I thought
think
the
so.
7. 7
Yeah.
Probably
think
because
you're
of
right.
2008 when all the houses were.
Yeah.
Everybody
like
got-
everyone's got a foreclosure nowadays.
I just sent Paul a message to give a call in because since we're talking about homes, I want to talk to someone who's actually providing homes for the less fortunate, the kiddies.
Okay.
So Paul is doing a big thing on this Sunday, so I'm going to have him call in to talk about that for a little bit, and we'll get back into this discussion. But while waiting for him to call in, you did mention this is your own company.
Yeah,
you
so
work
this is
for.
our company. Like I said, the financing comes from all investors. So what we do, we present the whole deal to them, and they fund it. It funds under us. The loan, the lien on the property, because if you get a mortgage from anybody, you have a lien on your property. That is from us, Ariso Business Capital.
Right.
We'll be the lien holder. We're the ones you're working with the entire time. Everything is done directly through us. There's no third party or anything like that. A lot of companies, especially in the hard money lending, they do a lot of, you'll see companies that white label which means is, yes, it's me doing this. And then when you get to the very end, it's, wait, who's this guy?
Right.
It's
And there's
another
usually
company.
commission
Yeah,
taken
so
by that extra guy too.
It's like a fancy way of brokering out. So we're not the broker. So that
It's your
takes away that broker,
Yeah.
which
Okay.
that fee is just another addition to
2%
what you're
of your
paying.
loan.
Depends.
Yeah.
It could be
And
more.
again, a couple
I've seen
percent here, a
5,
couple
6.
percent there. It adds
5
up,
or 6.
you know?
Yeah,
Ooh, that's-
sometimes, especially with these properties, especially on ones where it's really tough, where it's like maybe we were the only one who would do this loan. You'll see the broker charge higher because it's like, hey, listen, nobody wants to do this. I found a lender that will do it, but this is what I'm going to charge you, and they'll typically pay it because it is an investment property.
Right.
Because whatever you charge, remember anything
Hopefully it'll
we
be
charge.
encompassed in your profit
Yeah, it's
statement.
gonna.
Okay.
If you did your numbers right, it's all gonna pay itself off. So
Right.
in a way, you're not actually paying for anything.
Right.
Assuming you sell the property for a profit, of course.
Of course.
That's where the experience
That's a
comes
big
in.
if.
Yes,
This day's
yes.
market, yeah.
It's definitely you gotta know what you're doing to some degree.
Sure.
You know, when we say
I
inexperience.
think here he is.
Oh, we got a call.
We
Yep.
got a caller.
This must be Paul. You there, Paul?
Hey,
Hey, Paul, what's up?
I'm here.
For everybody listening, this
Hi,
is
how are ya?
the famous comedian Paul Bond,
Oh my God,
and we are talking real
I
estate.
love him.
Yeah, he's great. And since we're talking real estate, you provide real estate for the kiddies. So why don't you talk a little bit about that and what you have
Look at-
going on Sunday?
You are so clever. Look at you, the way you segue.
Yeah, I was trained by an expert.
That's wonderful. Yes, and I'm thank you. I thank you for the airtime. Sorry to interrupt you guys. I have a small plot you might be interested in. But yes, I'm doing a rescue benefit. We provide housing for cats, dogs, and I belong to a rescue group called the Adoption Center. And on Sunday night, we're doing a comedy hypnotist show at McGuire's, Governor's at McGuire's. And we really need your support because I only do this one time a year, and I called in a big favor. This guy that does the comedy hypnotist, he's like world renowned, and he's even performed in Dubai, Egypt. He's all over the place, and he happens to be a Long Islander. So come and support a Long Islander. Come support Animal Rescue. Sunday night, Governor's at McGuire's at 7:30. Tickets are $25, 2-drink minimum, and you can get them at Rich Guzzi. That's the hypnotist. That's Rich GUZZI.com. Tickets can be bought there. So should be a lot of fun, man. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I see you've gotten some good endorsements from like Joey Kohler and Terry McNeely and everything about this show.
Yeah, baby. And Paul Verzi and Jim Brewer, they're all getting on board to try to help us out.
That's great.
So if you guys want to have a great night out, there's only 200 seats. It will sell out, so get on board. You don't have to be hypnotized. That's what people go, I don't go to because I don't want to act like a chicken if I don't want to act like a chicken. No. Richie, he brings the volunteers on stage, and he puts them under. So you don't have to worry about that. And so like I said, it's a 2-drink minimum, but there will be food that you can buy there as well. It's a full-scale comedy club, top-notch. So I'm looking forward to it. We just need to fill the house because we do it one time a year, and I'm calling in a huge favor to Rich Guzzi, and it should be hysterical. I'm going to open the show. We're going to do about 20 up front of some new material so people can check that out, and then Richie's going to take over. So, and we're going to have raffles and 50-50s. And there's no middleman on this. This goes right to the rescue. There's no paperwork and that kind of crap. It's spay, neuter, feeding, medical, housing, and foster and adoption. So there you go.
Yeah, I was going to mention that 100% of this is going towards a charity. Nobody's getting anything in their pocket. This is a real deal thing here.
That's right. The way Governors works it is, you buy the place outright. They don't even take a percentage. So it's a great way to do it because then I know every penny that comes through the door goes right toward the cause, and it's awesome. So it's $25. What are you gonna do? It's Columbus Day weekend. Come on.
And you know what? I could be wrong because it's not like I've seen every comedy show out here, but I haven't seen a good comedy hypnotist on Long Island in a very long time. So this would be a lot of fun.
Oh, Richie's killer. I've seen some clips of him. I'm like, oh no, this is funny. people thinking the other person smells bad. Oh yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Have you ever been to a comedy hypnotist show?
No.
Vegas. That's about it. Not Long Island.
Yeah, these are a lot of fun. I was at one many years ago, and I had a blast, and I have seen them away, but I haven't seen them in New York.
Yeah.
So
Right,
a lot of people here probably haven't experienced it, so you definitely come check it out. And again, Paul, who's a national headliner himself, is opening the show, so it just goes to show you how talented Rich is. So definitely come check this out.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm very excited about having him, and he's coming. Here's the thing: he's flying himself in. He's doing the show for free. He's doing me a real solid, so that nothing comes out of my pocket. So this is a real favor. So I need people to help me out with this and do your part. Come down. I do this once a year, so please come on down. $25 a head, 2-drink minimum, and food is available if you'd like some. And they have good food, by the way. So
Yes, they do. All right, great.
Governors
Anything else you want to push?
and go to Rich Guzzi. I can't even talk anymore. Rich Guzzi, Guzzi, like Guzzi.com, and go to his events page or fundraisers, and tickets are available right there. So it'll be awesome, and you'll be glad you did.
All right, cool.
It's a great cause, for God's sake.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for calling in. I will be there Sunday. Unfortunately, I do have to work that night, so I may not be able to stay till the end of the show, but I'm gonna catch most of it.
You're supporting it, and that's why I love you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And hopefully you guys can come to...
Yeah.
Try to make it.
All right. Anything else, Paul?
That's it for now. That's really the focus. So I appreciate the airtime, and thank you guys for letting me interrupt your little the real estate thing.
Anytime, brother.
I know nothing about, so go on.
If you want to buy a house, call me. We'll work it out. I got the people here.
We'll talk Sunday.
Okay,
We'll hypnotize
come on
you
down,
first, and then I'll
spread
talk
the
about
word,
it.
man. The more the merrier. Okay. I love you.
Oh,
Take care, buddy.
Paul also teaches comedy at the Actors Studio in Levittown.
Oh, look at
on
that. I
Monterey
forgot
Avenue.
that.
And if you want to learn comedy, he's the guy. And it's a great boot camp that he does. It's a 6-week program, correct?
Yeah, 6 weeks, and then we do a little graduation show for friends and family. We'll actually do a pre-show on the 6th week. I'm going to ask you, Dennis, to come down and be kind of like a judge, so we could tweak the shows that we have.
That'd be great.
As an alumni judge.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. They say you can't teach people to be funny. No, you can't teach people to be funny, but you can teach people to be funnier.
Yes. And that's what I like
right.
about Paul. He doesn't try to make
have
you
to
into
have what
something.
it takes to make it happen in the first place. You just
Yeah.
can't go up there like, so my parents, they're fun. Yeah. All right, next. That's why they have auditions at America's Got Talent. You understand?
Exactly.
But I got a great group, man. I got a great little group, and we'll be doing a show October 27th at the Actors Workshop. But if you want to join, anytime you can join the class. Just go to actorsworkshop.com and click on the banner, as they say. So, and actually, Dennis is going there for acting now, so
Yes, I
that's
am.
pretty cool.
I'm loving it. I go there on Thursday nights.
Yeah.
Chris is a great instructor for acting, and I'm really enjoying it.
Good. Yeah, he says you're doing a good job. So that was between you and me, but now all your listeners know. All right there, big guy. I appreciate the time.
No problem, Paul.
And I'll see you on Sunday, okay?
You got it. Take care.
All right, take care, Dennis. Bye, guys.
Take care.
Bye.
So to get back, I wanted to ask you a question. So being that this is your company and you do this all the time, do you have contractors you work with? Like, let's say I wanted to buy an investment property and I didn't know anybody, and I went to you for money. Could you suggest certain contractors, or you just not get involved in that?
No, we don't recommend contractors. We put that all on you, and I don't think it's a good idea that the financing part takes play in any of that, because then it's kind of, you don't want to be
Steered
towards certain areas where it's like, hey, you should work with this contractor or you should work with this company for this or that. We try to be transparent as much as possible. That's why we waive all those fees. We tell you exactly up front. I think I mentioned earlier about like what documents we would need. We tell our clients that right up front. The reason why we do that is, like I said, I've been doing this a long time. Nothing's worse than the back and forth between a client. where you're like, hey, I need this document. You get this document. A day later, hey, now I need this document.
Oh, I hate
It's
that.
like, what's going on here? Just
Why
tell me
couldn't
what
you
you
give me
need
a comprehensive
and get it.
list?
You've been there, haven't you?
I've been there so many
Right?
times.
And
As
what do
a
you do? You get
residential
out-
retail person, buying my home 3 years ago was a nightmare because I was responding within hours of getting an email,
Yeah.
unless they emailed me after work.
One thing I'll say about it, she's very efficient and on top of everything.
No, that's very good. That's
So-
how I am. Listen,
then
when I bought my house,
recently-
I told my attorney, my realtor,
Yeah.
the banks,
Give me a list.
CC me on everything.
Yes,
No,
yeah,
I
right.
said, because if someone's going to drop the ball, I'm going to make sure that
They-
they
yeah.
pick it back up.
Me, I'm just the opposite. Do I do it right away or?
Or
Oh yeah, I
sit there.
forgot about that. Yeah, hold on, let me look for it.
Oh, you're the guy I don't want to work with. No, I'm kidding.
On the electronic email trail, though, you know, you email
Oh,
me,
I love
you need
emails,
me,
yeah.
Then all right, I'll get you everything you need.
Because I'll copy and paste and be like,
Yep.
nope, you did
Yep.
say that.
Yeah,
On
my
June
flip that
27th.
I'm doing in Philly, though, that one lender fell through because they couldn't get their act together because there were too many
Yeah.
middlemen, actually. So that's a
big
big
problem. Yeah.
problem
And that's
with
when
that.
I think you see a lot of that back and forth a lot. It's either whoever you're working with is inexperienced. So it could be the
yes.
loan officer.
The middleman was inexperienced.
Yeah,
Absolutely. That's
or they're jumping place to place. So sometimes that happens with a broker. It falls through at one lender. So now they go into another lender
Right.
who may require different documents, which becomes a problem because now you're re-asking, oh, let me get this, let me get that. And it's like,
just
why
give me
are
a
you
list. Just
asking me
give
for
me
this
a
now?
list
Yeah.
from the get-go, and I could have gotten you all that in 24
Right.
hours.
exactly.
And again, that
Yes.
speeds up the process. The quicker you have everything
Yes.
you need, the quicker you could get
Exactly,
it done. So neither one of you should be delaying that process.
Yeah.
Both of you be out there and get it.
And it is always just making sure that every part is on top. So what we'll do too is we want to be in contact with your attorney. We want to be in contact with the title company, the other party, their other attorney, so we can make sure that there's no miscommunication, that everything is exactly how it's supposed to be, because it's the game of telephone. Everyone's played it as a kid, where things get changed as they go
Slightly,
on.
yeah.
So it's just making sure everyone's on the same page at all times, that we could all work together and
Agree.
and get this done.
Yeah.
Because everyone has a job.
Like you said, things do change because originally when you were looking, you had an idea of what you wanted and what you wanted to spend, and as you were looking, that changed.
Yeah.
So you needed
Well, because
more.
we saw what our money could
Right.
buy and couldn't buy.
So once,
we had to
once you
change
wanted
that.
more, then it was like, okay, no problem, I get it for you, but I need this, this, and this to get to that next level.
Yeah.
And you know, you got to be ready for it.
Yeah,
if you're
yeah.
asking for more, you got to expect to give more.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
you know, as long as everybody's reasonable, believe it or not, this process is not hard. It
No,
really
no,
isn't.
it's not at all. But what everyone has to realize too is that borrower might not be used to this process. So something that maybe you think as a realtor, or I think as a loan officer, that well, this should be 1, 2, 3, not for them, because we might have to teach them and be like, listen, this is how the process works, and you might have to hold their hand and
Yeah.
walk them through the process.
Which is
So
why
they-
you want professionals working
Yes,
for you
exactly.
specifically to do that.
Exactly, because you can't go by one person's story,
No.
no matter who it is.
And again, it's usually someone. When I bought my house in 1973, this is how it worked, and I didn't have to do any of this crap.
Yeah.
Laws have changed. Times
They-
have changed.
You also paid
Changed.
probably 20% interest on
Yeah.
your house
That's right.
back in the 70s.
It probably
so
has asbestos, so
You want to give me 20? Yeah. And lead paint and everything else. You know, especially in New York, things are a lot harder here
Yes.
than in most other
I
places.
agree.
Yeah.
The requirements here are a lot more than in other places. So let the pros take care of it. Because, you know, pros can make mistakes too, but there's such a system of checks and balances.
It's less likely,
From
way
the
less
agent
likely.
to the closing table
Yeah.
that by the time you're there, you're good, unless somebody wants to be difficult.
yeah, absolutely.
And
There's a surprising number of those people who
Yes.
want to be difficult.
The first deal I had that went through with no problem, I was scared. I'm like, something's wrong. I'm calling, hey, what's going on? You know, and it went right through. Everybody agreed to everything right away, and we got right there. I'm used to getting phone calls. What's going on with this? What's going on with
Yeah,
that?
yeah,
Hold
yeah.
on, let me find out. Because I'm a full service agent too. I don't. Because
I
realistically,
agree.
our job is done when the contract's signed. It goes out to the lawyers. I'm done. Technically, I am done,
technically,
and I don't have to show up to that. I don't even have to show up to the closing. The check can be mailed to me.
Right.
I'm done.
Yeah.
But I don't work that way. I will stay with you until we get to that closing table, and if possible, I'll be at the closing table with you.
And they'll definitely appreciate that. That's something that
And
they
Because
you
how
know,
many
always-
problems come up at the closing
Yeah,
table is another
absolutely,
issue.
100%.
So
And we've seen that firsthand
Yes.
too.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I like to be there, and sometimes I am a quick thinker, and I will come up with things that
To fix the
maybe
problem.
some people, you know, sometimes it's great to think outside the box, and to make this transition here, acting, doing comedy, doing improv, it forces you to do things that are out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
And forces you to think outside the box. And sometimes you need to do that in real estate.
Yeah,
and
no,
say,
definitely.
hey, is this possible?
Especially the
Ooh,
closing.
you know, I didn't think of that.
That's a good thing that you mentioned at the closing table. Nothing's 100%.
No. Until think title is
Until I don't know. I guess
Shifted
until you
over.
walk into the house and you're like, okay,
Once
I think it's
the
done
checks
with
are
now.
passed and the keys are
Yeah.
passed,
Yeah.
that's
Then
when
it's
it's over.
done.
Then it's.
nothing is taken for
But
granted.
with me personally, what I like to do is, or anybody who works with any lender out there, whoever it may be, or as a realtor, is try to get the loan documents the day before. I mean, typically it should be ready.
Right.
Maybe it might not have the correct date on it because they got to do that the morning of, but at least get a rough draft so you could review it. And you should review it. You know, don't.
Right.
A lot of people are like, well, that's what I have an attorney for, and it's like, well, don't you want to do your own
You
checks
got to
and
trust the
balances a little?
attorneys make mistakes too.
They
you
make
know?
mistakes. They're in a rush. Remember, a lot of times you go to the attorney who's really doing the work, the paralegal. So the attorney's not really doing it. So it's not to knock. Everyone knows their job and what to do, but there's no reason of not doing a checks and balance on yourself. It's just reviewing it and ask questions.
Right.
Everyone realize if you're a real estate agent, you're a loan officer, you're an attorney. These people work for you. They get paid at the end of the deal. So they work for you. We
Right.
work for our clients. So with that being said, is, you know, if you have a question about something,
Ask it.
Ask
Yeah,
the question.
absolutely.
What does this mean? And if you're, you know, whoever you hired is getting annoyed by your questions, then go find somebody else. You know, you shouldn't.
That's right.
They don't know the terms that they use on these contracts and this and that. So ask questions. Just know what you're doing before you get yourself into something that you're unsure of. So
Unfortunately, what you find a lot too is like a lot of people like to think they're more important than they are. They like to stand
Very
out.
true. Yeah.
I don't care. I just want my client happy and to
Get
get
paid.
the best deal.
And get paid.
Get paid
Yeah.
or to get the best deal in the house.
Yeah.
Either way, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I don't care. Once you get to that closing table, you can't be in the room. You're only the real estate. Okay, then go sit outside. I
Yeah,
don't need to go,
yeah.
well, I did it. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
I don't care. Are they happy? Okay.
Yeah.
You know, I'll be wherever you want. And that's why the people I work with, and you've seen that too, that I'm very specific on who I choose to work with. Now, obviously, if you're coming to me to buy or sell a house, you can use whoever you want. I will work with anybody because that's my job. But if you ask my references or if I bring certain people in to do open house or whatever, I'm doing people that I feel are the best at what they do. And if they ruin that reputation, I won't work with them again.
Yeah.
You know that too.
because it kind of goes over to you as well.
Yeah.
That's why we're talking about the recommendation.
Yeah,
That's-
absolutely.
Yeah, anyone I recommend is on my name.
Yeah, I learned, let's go over a quick story. When I was, my very first job, I was like 14, 15. I worked in a supermarket, and they were hiring, and I got a friend of mine to get hired. And they're like, oh, this is a friend of yours? Okay, he could have the job
Yeah.
just
No
because he's your
questions
friend.
asked,
Yeah,
yeah.
because I was a good worker. He was horrible. He was the worst worker ever. I mean, I was so embarrassed that from that point on, I was like,
Never
I would never
again.
ever recommend anyone for anything. Don't even ask me. I just won't do it. Even if I feel that there's someone who deserves it,
Right.
just because of that experience. And if this is your livelihood or your passive income, you don't want to ruin that because of somebody else that you had no control over, other than the fact that you recommended them and now, they destroyed it for yourself.
Now, we really only got like a minute left, so I wanted to ask you one more quick question. Being that you work with pretty much 46 states, what do you find the most active state right now as far as real estate flipping and whatever?
You know what? It's like Delaware is very big. Delaware is a great place to have a business. Delaware is a great place to get into the real estate investment. Nevada has a lot of great things going on. Arizona, believe it or not, a lot of New Yorkers, once they filled up Florida, they were like, hey, no more of you guys. We started looking at other
I'd
states.
love to go to Arizona.
Me too.
We started going to North Carolina. We started going to South Carolina. Then New Yorkers started going to Arizona. Tax laws in California now, the way things are going in
They're
California,
emigrating over here.
a lot of them are migrating
Yeah.
to Arizona, and they're like, wow, this place is like California, but a
But
third
cheaper,
of the price.
yeah.
So you
And
got a lot.
ruining it.
And ruining
the
it.
market.
Go back, Californians. You're ruining our state.
Exactly.
So Arizona is like a very big up and coming state.
Yeah.
Colorado, obviously, with legalizing something like marijuana, you get a lot of people who are interested in those new laws that are migrating to those states.
Right.
So that's what you want to look for is the value in a state. What's in it for them to go somewhere? So New York, obviously we have our high taxes, our high cost of living. It's not really an attractive state. I mean, this might be a little off top, but it's not really attracting people into the state right now.
For
most people-
investments.
For the most part, for investments, for business, we're not very business friendly
Right.
here. So that's pushing people to these other states. So, like Delaware, Arizona, Utah is a very big state, Colorado. You notice that most of them are in that kind of Midwest, almost West Coast area, where the laws are not as strict as
They're
some
pro-business.
They're They're definitely pro-business.
Unfortunately, we are out of time. So real quick, you want to push your company? How do they get in touch with you?
Ariso Business Capital. You can check us out on our website, arisocapital.com. That's ARISO capital.com. You can also give us a call at 516-341-6009. You could even text message that number. It's a business line that has texting capabilities. So there's many ways you can get in contact with us. Facebook, check us out at Ariso Capital. That's it. If you have any questions, there's no obligation. Just whatever your question is, we'd love to answer it for you.
And you can reach either Win or me at the Douglas Element in Merrick.
That's right. For one of the biggest purchases of your life, if you're buying or selling, start with the Win. Win Kwok.
I like
you
that.
can reach me at 631-645-6972.
And we're way over, so I'm just going to cut it. We'll talk more next week. And again, it's going to be the Comic-Con special. And thanks for tuning in. Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks.